All right, welcome to the Tabunda podcast on a very special, very sober episode. I'm Joe.
I'm Caleb.
And today we're going to be talking about Glass from our good friend M. Night Shyamalan. This is a movie that I feel like a lot of people have been waiting for in a weird way, because obviously there's the secret sequel to Unbreakable with splits. And it kind of created, I think, a decent amount of hype for this movie. At least maybe on a cult level.
Yeah. Has that ever been done before?
I'm sure it has, but it's definitely really, really unique.
It's
just because of M. Night's career.
It was so weird. I was mad. How did you react when you saw the end of Split?
Okay, so I didn't see Split, and after seeing this movie, I'll be honest, I never want to see Split, and I'll get into my reasoning behind that. And I know I haven't heard anyone say I didn't like it, they didn't like it, but I also haven't, I don't know, well, I'll get into it, let's leave it at that. But I immediately after I heard that, I went and I saw the clip, and I was like, that's really fucking interesting. I still don't want to see the movie, but that's very interesting. And yeah, I saw Unbreakable a long time ago. It's one of those movies I'm kind of scared to go back and rewatch, because there's a lot of movies from the early 2000s that I enjoyed when I was younger that I'm a little bit scared to go back and see now, because a lot of the media from the early 2000s tends to be really heavy-handed in delivering these kind of high concept messages, and going back and watching them is oh my god, they have no subtlety whatsoever. And Unbreakable, I'm going to get around to it. I'm going to go back and see it eventually.
Yeah.
But I'll say this movie hasn't spurred me to want to go back and watch that or go back and see Split.
So what is your...
unfortunately.
What is your history with M. Night Shyamalan? How have you felt about him in the past and so forth?
So when I was really young, growing up in a neighborhood, and we had a bunch of kids ranging from a 10-year age spectrum, we would all hang out. And one of the more creative kids in the neighborhood was one of our, older kid too. And he was kind of a role model and a bit of a ringleader for our little group of kids. And he was really into M. Night, because this was when, Sixth Sense came out, Unbreakable. And then I remember us all getting extremely hyped for The Village.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I remember us being a little disappointed with it, and our excitement with it just kind of fizzled out. And that was also before I really understood what a director or an auteur, especially one like M. Night, really was. And then I started seeing movies I never saw Lady in the Water, but I started seeing trailers for it, and I was like, this is crap. This is the crap you see on Sci-Fi Channel in the daytime.
Yeah.
And I understand now, after seeing more about that movie, I understand that Lady in the Water isn't like Boa versus Python, but I know it's a different kind of bad.
Yeah.
And if you watch this podcast, you'll come to learn that I really hate movies that are trying to be smart and act like they're smart. And unfortunately, a lot of M. Night's later career movies kind of teeter on that edge. Kind of fall into that category a little bit. And I don't say I dislike the guy, but he's confusing to me, and I do feel like he's a director who is kind of woefully out of touch. And we'll get into that when we talk about this movie. What about you, Caleb? What about your Shyamalan?
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. I feel that I should make fun of the last guy's last name.
If anything, you should make fun of his middle name. There's no way his name is actually
M. Night's a badass name.
I know, that's the fucking coolest. Because when you say it fast, it just sounds like Midnight, and he's it's the best. It's like Wes Craven. Midnight.
It sounds like it could be a horror writer.
Yeah.
Write a lot
well, I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah, I feel like his movies are more thriller than horror. But.
Well, he was one of the first directors when I really got into movies and filmmaking, that I was all right, this is a guy that makes this type of movie. He is it was like Spielberg was like the
Mr.
first guy for me that I was like, all right, he is like a director and he made all of these movies and that's like what a director does. And I got really into like how they were made and stuff. And I saw like the things that kind of tied those movies together in a way. But then M. Night Shyamalan was like the second guy I think that I really got into. And I was like, I'm going to watch all his movies yeah, so in that time I watched Unbreakable and I haven't watched it since. But then I like Signs fine. I hate The Village because it ripped off the ending of this book I read when I was a kid. And M. Night Shyamalan got like sued for it. And he was like a real shit about it.
Oh, really? I never actually heard about that. See, I was kind of on the flip side where I was like watching Signs when I was older. I really liked Signs as a kid and it really creeped me out.
No, The Village.
As a kid. No, I'm talking about I'm inverted with you where I really liked watching Signs as a kid, and I was really creeped out by aliens when I was younger and like cryptozoology and stuff like that. And I liked Signs, and then when I went back and watched it when I was older, I was like, this is really kind of dumb, especially with the whole water being the thing that kills them. And then watching The Village as I got older, I was like, oh, this is a little bit smarter. But I never knew that it was he got sued for ripping something off.
So there's this book that I read twice because I moved and I had to read it in 2 school districts. So I know this book.
Well, that's actually kind of cheating, isn't it? Cause it's,
yeah, I get it. Well,
you just do like 8 fucking school reports on The Great Gatsby. And you just like revise it a little bit every year.
Yeah, just hop around. But it was like, middle school as like a younger kid, but like kind of cool, book. But it was called Running Out of Time. And it's a book about this girl. And it's
a book about M. Night Shyamalan's career.
Yeah. And basically. But no, instead of the twist being at the end, it's at the beginning. And it sets it up and it's like this girl and she lives in this like colonial town. And then like the initiating event to the story is her parents are like, hey, you're like, somebody in the village is like sick. Like you need to get out of here. This isn't a real town. This is like, in the book, it's like, they're like
get out.
Kind of in a museum, but they're like trapped there and they can't leave. And they're being filmed and stuff. So she has to go into the modern day world and get some medicine and bring it back.
Oh, that's kind of a cool concept.
And so
it's like Colonial Williamsburg, except the people who work there are like forced.
Yeah. And so when I watched the end of The Village, I was like, well, that's just a fucking ripoff of Running Out of Time. And I looked it up, and the author of Running Out of Time sued M. Night Shyamalan, and his quote in court made me just be like, fuck this guy. He was like, seriously though, who even read your book? Or something like that. And I was like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, what a douche. And it's like, obviously you did. I mean, maybe he didn't, but like, fuck you. It's like, that's not the exact quote, but it's something like shitty like that.
The statistics show that only one man read this book twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sitting in court just like, me! But...
No, that kind of thing is... So I see some things where M. Night seems kind of charming and like kind of like a guy you just kind of like hang out with, but fuck that guy. That's what he said in the courtroom.
I'll look it up later, but...
All right, asterisk. Maybe this didn't happen. If I was remembering it wrong.
Oh yeah, no. He said
maybe it was the other guy, and he was like, "Who even watched your movie?"
He actually said, "Wow, you wrote an amazing book on M. Night,
and I'm just trying to do my pastiche." Yeah, no, that's shitty. I mean, it's at the same time. Do you know who won the lawsuit?
I think he did.
Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Who's he?
Shyamalan. I think a woman wrote.
Someone did. A person won it.
Yeah, a woman wrote Running Out of Time.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure she had a great attaché of A-list lawyers from Hollywood. But that's unfortunate, and that's shitty if you said that. At the same time, it is kind of I don't want to say like elementary idea, but it's not like... It's kind of something that it's like anyone who goes to see a Mormon town could... If you spend a lot of time thinking about it, like, how can I make a movie out of this? I feel like it's something that you would likely land on. And that kind of falls into my thing about Split, where it's like a lot of M. Night's movies are, while they have like some interesting premises, a lot of them do kind of feel like a little bit elementary with their premises. Where it's like...
The Happening.
It's like, yeah, it's like you see something, or you see like this little event and be like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and then you just like kind of stretch it really as far as you can to see what kind of like movie and premise and narrative you can get out of it. Where Split is like, it feels almost as if you went to an acting class and saw some guy doing like a one-man play and was like, oh, what if someone had a mental disorder? Or it's like the first time you hear about schizophrenia. I mean, it's just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
And watching someone just snap between personalities is like, to me, it's like I'm watching someone's demo reel. Like a really low budget demo reel where they're just like, I'm just, I set my camera up on a tripod and I'm in my studio apartment and I'm just going to start recording me jumping in between like these characters like I'm really good at doing that used to make my friends laugh. And okay, yeah, maybe a really good demo reel, but a demo reel nonetheless. And I mean, James McAvoy is a great actor. I'm not going to say he's not good at acting, but that being the whole premise of an entire horror movie to me is just like, I don't know. It just feels kind of like rudimentary and a little bit hack, if I'm being quite honest. And I'm not really wowed when I see some guy being like, I'm a proper British woman and I answer for the Horde. And now I'm a fucking retarded 9-year-old.
Well,
like I'm not like wowed by that. Like when someone just jumps by it, that's not like
it's
not interesting.
It's a lot better in Split, I would say.
I have heard that. To be fair to the Split, I have heard that it's way more impressive in that movie.
Yeah, because in this movie, it's like he takes it like too far. In Split, it's kind of like he comes into the room and he's one of the people, and then he leaves the room and he comes back later. He's one of the other people. But he does a better. I mean, not that he does a better job in Split. I think he did a good job in this movie too. But the script,
the narrative,
the script kind of just pushes it to the limit because the light is like changing him all the time. And you're kind of like, okay, I'm starting to not see the clear differences between these, different people, like you do in the original movie.
One thing I will say about McAvoy is that he makes really great use of his physical space, and like he's a really good physical actor. When he's walking around and he knows like the limits of the frame and where he is, and he maneuvers within it really well to kind of expand on that whatever character he's playing. So I'll definitely give him props for that. But I just have no interest in seeing a movie that's like a lot of horror movies, especially nowadays, like the A24 movies. A lot of them have like a gimmick, and a lot of times I'll just like see the gimmick and I'm like, oh, I bet they do all these really interesting things with that gimmick, and I bet you if I sat down with a pen and paper, I could probably come up with them over a good amount of time, and I don't really want to see that, I'll be honest.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I like the it's kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan like comeback recently, and I feel like this movie is going to make a lot of money, so I think that probably still counts as a comeback.
I'm actually curious about that. I do want to talk about that, but yeah, Split was a huge success. It was a $9 million budget. Like that's indie. That's incredibly low. That's amazingly low budget.
I liked,
and then it made I think I would say like 100 mil, 120 mil or something like that. Very good. Good use. I don't know how much McAvoy got paid, but
I liked The Visit a lot.
Yeah, that's one I don't know. I heard that one's like funny, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And I am kind of terrified of old people, so it worked for me. It was actually really scary. I was like, I don't want old people to like touch me, and like it was just it got to me. But then it was also.
Are you ageist, Caleb? Are you an ageist?
Yeah, a little bit. It's just kind of creepy, and I've never seen a scary movie that's just all about like aren't old people kind of
going
gross?
To the bathroom and they just like piss all over the seat.
Yeah, they're just like gross. Like they just. It's just how gross are old people is a lot of the scary.
I don't mind old people, but yeah, when they get like geriatric or whatever the fuck the word is, and yeah, it's like.
But it's more than that. But that's a lot of the scares are just like little kids kind of think old people are.
Caleb,
gross.
do you know how many old people just clicked out of this podcast right now?
Yeah, I ruined it. I'm sorry, But
90-year-old people streaming.
So what do you think was the first movie that was his like huge downturn?
Oh man, I gotta say, Lady in the Water. I mean,
was that right after Village? Because even though
yeah, but that was like so maybe The Village is a little bit of a downturn, but Lady in the Water was a nosedive. Like
yeah, that movie sucks.
Like that it looked terrible. Like off the bat, the trailers were like, "This is like something you pull out of the bin in Walmart for like 3 movies for $3 kind of thing."
Yeah, and I think that movie was like based off a story he would tell his kids or something, which reminds me of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, because I know the director and maker of that movie. It's the same kind of thing, but one is fun for kids and one is not fun for adults.
One has a Shark Boy, the other one has a Narf in it. So,
and then oh god, I know. I'd say his lowest point was After Earth, when they didn't even put him in the trailer or on the poster that he directed that movie.
Oh, hang on. Here's a perfect segue for me to talk about something that's coming up too. Speaking of very famous directors not being listed on the title for the movie, Alita Battle Angel is going to be coming out soon. Directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Wow.
Marketed as a James Cameron production.
Damn.
$200 million budget. I think it's... I'm going to go ahead and throw out a little prediction as a side note in this episode. $120 million loss. That's my guess.
That sounds like could be like the biggest flop in history. That sounds really bad. Yeah.
Mortal Engines is, I want to say, like, what, 150 mil?
Good lord.
Yeah,
I don't know who said they wanted to watch that. Did they not?
Anime adaptations don't do great.
Did they not, like, ask anybody? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
how did Robert Rodriguez get $200 million?
I don't know. Well,
okay, let's pull up the notes again. Let's start talking now that we have Split and Unbreakable out of the way.
All right. So I do want to. I don't think she ever actually sued him, Shyamalan, the Running Out of Time woman.
Oh, did you just look that up?
Yeah. So she never sued him, but she brought it like public that he ripped off her book. She said
that when did he? Where? On what platform did he say? I hope is that on Twitter? Back when people were just savage as fuck on Twitter, and it was like, who read your book anyways? That had to be before Twitter even existed, wasn't it?
I read it somewhere, I swear.
Imagine peaking in like 2000. That's unfortunate. So yeah, I think the consensus on this movie across the spectrum of all film critics and goers wherever is kind of like generally the same, where it starts off solid, meanders a little bit, and then has a pretty, to be blunt, shit ending. I think that's pretty much across the board what people have saying. Even people who say, I really liked it, kind of will say something along those lines.
Yeah.
Versus even people who are like, it sucked, will say something along those lines.
I was excited to review this movie because when I saw the end of Split, I was really...
Split?
I was straight up mad. I was like, that's fucking stupid. I was like...
It kind of is stupid,
I was
to
like,
be honest.
That's like...
It's kind of cool, but it's kind of stupid.
That's like if at the end of, like, an Indiana Jones movie, he just saw E.T. or something. You're like, oh shit. It's like, no, that's dumb. It's like, yeah, the same director, but those aren't even the same. Split doesn't feel like it's in the same universe as Unbreakable at all.
Yeah.
And then this movie feels more like Unbreakable, but...
Absolutely.
Then
what I've seen of Split.
The Split character, James McAvoy's character, feels not like he does not fit in this world.
I get those vibes too, yeah.
So it's just weird. It was a weird decision. I kind of respect it for being weird, but...
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Cloverfield movies, where they're just like buying like scripts of like thrillers or sci-fi movies, and then just like altering like a few pages of them and putting Cloverfield in the name.
Yeah, but that's...
Like it kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more interesting. I don't know. There's something about it, like I said, just how strange M. Night's career has been. that's like, I kind of appreciate that it exists that way.
Yeah, I mean,
even if it does have a woefully anticlimactic end.
So, yeah, I was mad to see it, and then I saw the reviews were like interesting. A lot of them were like, it's very interesting.
First Glass.
Yeah, and then I got kind of excited, and then when I was going in the theater, I was pretty excited because, especially since a lot of people I knew just said it like really sucked. So I was like, it's either going to be something I'm kind of into maybe because it's interesting, or it's going to be so shitty that it's like kind of funny. But it just kind of made me sad. I was like bummed.
Yeah, I can get that. I was a little more like, just kind of like, I don't know. I guess I expected that from an M. Night movie. I'll get more into details about what I expect from M. Night. Kind of just like bizarre, eye-rolling scenes and sequences that kind of lace every part of his movie that kind of undermine all the good stuff in them. And I got a lot of that, and I was just kind of like, nah, this is pretty much almost what I expected, with the end being so ridiculous that I was like, hey, you know what? At least it's something that I can talk about and kind of rip apart pretty easily. Maybe that's schadenfreude, but I kind of like enjoyed how I saw the end and I was like, yeah, no, this is exactly where I thought I was heading. In terms of badness, not exactly what the twist itself was, but in terms of just like, this movie's not as smart as it thinks it was, and all this stuff it's been acting like it is just full of itself. It's just bullshit.
So the ending is just, it's...
Well, we'll get to the ending.
Okay. Yeah, alright. So it starts off pretty good. I liked almost all of this movie. I thought it was pretty solid until the end.
I've heard a lot of people say that in other reviews, and a lot of people who tend to lean towards the I like it version of their reviews, they usually do say, yeah, I liked it up until the end. And then I think the most divisive part of this movie is going to be the middle part of it for most people, the second act, which takes place mostly in the asylum. A lot of people say they liked it and it was very interesting, and other people will say it's, it's not. But the movie starts off, and I'll say the beginning's definitely the best part. Although I got these twinges all over the place of just M. Night, just like, I'm like, this is the most fucking M. Night Shyamalan movie I've fucking ever watched. Okay, we start off, and our very first shot of the movie is dated. It's just dated. It's this fad that people did back in, like, what, like 2009?
Oh, yeah. Homeless people punching.
The decking, which is like you would film someone and they would just run up and punch them. It's like an angry old man, like, don't you hate these kids? Don't you want to see them get beat up? That is something that, Jackass isn't cool anymore. No one fucking watches Jackass anymore. It's old.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, like the first shot of the movie, I'm like, dated. Dated joke is like the first thing I wrote down. Actually, no, sorry, that wasn't the dated joke. The dated joke was the Salt Bay.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been perusing the internets back when YouTube only let you post 10-minute videos before Google bought it. Back when it was a channel that was just videos ripped off of E-Bomb's World. I've been balls deep in internet culture for a long time now, and I've seen memes go from rage faces to just these weird meta things that they are now. I've seen all the YouTube poops and the Arnold Schwarzenegger soundboard ventrilo harassments. I've seen it all, man. I was there, man. And then when I see like shit like Salt Bay, and people are like, look at this new meme, Salt Bay. I just fucking hate everything.
It didn't even really make sense.
It's not a joke. It's not a setup or anything. It's just, here's a guy being eccentric, and people are just like, laugh their ass off over it. And it's just like, he just does something funny with his hand, and it's like, that's the funniest fucking thing in the world. And I can see a director like M. Night Shyamalan, like, sending that as a text to, like, all of his friends, be like, ha ha ha, look at this, like, crying face, laughing emoji, crying face, laughing emoji, crying face, laughing emoji. And I see that, like, in his persona of creativity, and I see it, like, bleed into, like, the movie to the point where it's like, I'm gonna make a Salt Bay reference in my movie as a joke. And my eyes are rolling. Like, even in the early part of the movie, which I would say is the best part of the movie, where I was the most intertwined and interested, there were still like these just things that came out, and I was just like, oh, this is dated as fuck and just out of touch.
Yeah, but it also didn't make sense. Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna Salt Bay your ass. Like, what does that mean exactly?
I think the joke was that his son sucks at writing jokes, and it didn't really make sense, which I kind of appreciated that. It
was the kid he was fighting that said it.
Well, yeah, no, the kid wrote it down, but I think the joke is that the kid sucks at making jokes.
Yeah, but
he's trying to be funny, but it doesn't make sense. But yeah, no, you're right. It is. I don't know. It was bizarre. I mean, to say the least, it was bizarre, and that's the thing about M. Night movies is like you get these, and it's not just the jokes; it's just the way a shot is filmed. Sometimes it's what he has his actors doing. Sometimes it's just strange. There are scenes in the first act where it's got a really good score. It's got good music.
Yeah, I did like the music.
And I'm watching this, and the music really started standing out to me. I was like, oh yeah. But then I'm looking at it, I'm like, if this sequence that I'm watching right now didn't have music in it, this would be the most bizarre looking footage ever. There's like some shots of like Bruce Willis walking into rooms and like looking around, and I mean, Bruce Willis, not the most emotive actor in this movie, and I'm like, this movie is every bit of information we're getting is through the audio. And if you've like studied film and if you edited film, you know that's you're gonna be like, duh, yeah, that's every movie. It relies on sound mixing and sound editing and the audio accompanying the image. But this movie is like so detrimentally intertwined with that audio that it is like the audio is telling us everything, and the image is just like this bizarre kind of off-putting that sometimes almost seems to be fighting with the ambiance or the music we're getting. And I wish I could have exact clips of that, but the movie's still pretty fresh, and I'm not trying to get a copyright strike or something like that.
Pretty sure. Is it fresh on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh yeah, no, it's not. Was that a zinger? Is that another Caleb zinger?
Well, no, it was.
I meant fresh.
Like I know. But it was half zinger, half actual question because I forgot.
Okay.
Because I could see this getting like
a 35%, dude.
Okay. For some reason, like I could see this getting like a 50-60, something like that.
Well, yeah, I could too, because that's probably what we'll give it later. But spoilers for our own clip. Anyways, so I got that. I literally, my notes say Salt Bay / emblematic of M. Night. We got Bruce Willis, and we bring back some old actors. His son from Unbreakable is the son in this movie, which I found impressive, but something I would advise against doing. This isn't Boyhood.
What I thought...
I was expecting it to be Boyhood.
So I saw this with my mom, who I watched Split with, and then she watched Unbreakable for the first time like a few days before we saw this movie. And so she is the one, like, in the theater. She was like, I think that's the boy in the first one, grown up. I was like, oh, cool. But then the whole movie, I was just like, what a fucking awesome point for his career, his, like, acting career. I was like, that's awesome. It's like he did it, because I haven't seen him in anything since, And then that's maybe the biggest movie he's ever been in, and it was because he was, like, a cute kid. And then years later, it's just like, hey, you want to reprise your role that you probably don't even have any memories of doing from when you were a kid? It's like, fuck yeah.
He was like in and out, like serving up fries at the drive-thru.
Yeah, it's like, absolutely.
M. Night came by and was like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, it's something that, it's a very strange choice to do that, in my opinion. Okay, you can say it's neat. Like I said, this isn't Boyhood. It's like not something that people are going to really like, I don't know, get wowed about that much. I would just opt out for a different actor, a better actor, a hungrier actor for, like, a breakthrough role, someone who can take this. I know he's not the main character, but he kind of does become a major focal point by the end of the movie. And you have, what's the girl from The Witch, Thomason, Joy, what's her name? She has Joy in her name. The female from Split.
Yeah.
Split. I'm going to call her Thomason because I love The Witch.
Something Taylor-Joy, is that it?
Yes. Thomasin Taylor-Joy. She is, by the end of the movie, when you're left with her and then the two other peripheral characters for Glass and Dunn.
And Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah. She is significantly more talented and appropriate and fitting actor for her role than the other two. And it is like jarring watching those three take the peripheral role at the end of the movie. This is where I want to say, like, sometimes I feel bad talking shit about M. Night, because it's like maybe he did bring back the guy who played Bruce Willis' son out of, like, goodwill. Maybe he was like, this guy hasn't acted or done it much. It was like maybe he phoned him up and, like, sought him out and was like, hey, man, you want to get a beer sometime? Or you want to go out for dinner sometime? And then he's like, hey, I'm making a sequel to Unbreakable. I want you to play Dunn's son as an adult. That's really nice and it's sweet. And, you know, I guess it's cool that, Clint Eastwood had the actual Marines play those guys on the train, but yeah, at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't do it. I'll tell you I wouldn't do it. And as much as it is a goodwill thing behind the scenes, it makes for a bad final product. He wasn't terrible in it, don't get me wrong. Yeah. He wasn't...
I didn't think it was
I wouldn't even say he was necessarily bad, but he just... I don't know. It felt a little subpar performance next to Bruce Willis, and they obviously look absolutely nothing alike.
I didn't think... I thought of the three of them, the Samuel L. Jackson's mom was the worst. Because also...
Well, that's unanimously agreed by everyone. That was... Okay, so... say what you were going to say, because you're probably about to say what I'm going to say.
How is she still alive? Like,
the thing is, that actress, if I'm correct, she played Glass's mother. I thought it was his wife for the first time I saw her on screen. She played Glass's mother in Unbreakable, but she played his mother in the flashbacks of Unbreakable, not when he was actually an adult. I might be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I've seen Unbreakable, but I don't think she played his, like, full-grown mother.
Well,
and yeah, she looks younger than...
I get the sense
Samuel L. in this movie.
Samuel L. Jackson's pretty old in this.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, he looks like he's pushing 50. And she looks like she's pushing, like, 40. Yeah. She's, like, 46, and he looks like he's, like, 50. Like,
no, he's fully gray. His, like, hair is, like, totally gray. I don't know. The whole movie, I was just kind of like, why aren't you dead? Or at least, like...
It was bizarre.
You're in a wheelchair,
too. The actress also had absolutely no fucking, like, interest in comic books in any way, shape, or form. And every time she delivers one of those, like, corny lines of, oh, God, what is this? Like, this is the special edition. It was just terrible.
Yeah,
Very bad. There's one line in particular when they were in Sarah Paulson's office. I forgot exactly what it was. I wish I remembered. But they're talking about superhero comics being, like, the history of some junk. And it pans to her, and she says this line. It's one of the most clunky deliveries of a dialogue I've ever heard, and it's about comic books, and she's just like, you can tell the actress just said words off of paper. Probably didn't know what they meant, and probably didn't care what they meant, and probably will never care what they meant. But yeah, no, I keep saying, I'm getting these consonants confused. Samuel L. Jackson's mother's character in this movie is... It was a really bad choice. And it's kind of strange that they felt he needed a peripheral character for all of them.
Yeah, so I guess we're skipping ahead. I'm skipping ahead to the climax a bit. But, like, all the peripheral characters, it's like, it felt very neat. Like, it was just like, oh, the three superhero characters. And then their three loved ones of, like, they each only have one. I don't know, it was just, like, kind of cookie cutter, but I guess
it was weird.
That's kind of what it was going for, because it was, like, trying to be, like, a comic book But comic books...
You know what I thought was going to happen, and I think everyone, or not everyone, I think a lot of people were on board with this. I thought they were going to like turn out to have superpowers.
Yeah, because...
I felt like a lot of people were expecting that.
Samuel L. Jackson
would have been
says...
not good either. But.
He says some line when he's like dying, and he's like, "This is an origin story," or something. Yeah. I thought Bruce Willis's son was going to do something, or...
Oh, especially with the strength, yeah. You see the shots of him, yeah. I thought it was going to be the fight, and he was going to be getting his ass kicked by the Beast, and I thought his son was going to run over and knowing this movie's budget, flip a car, maybe.
I don't know.
I was about to say do something amazing, but it would have been more like punch a hole in a CGI water bucket. So going back to Dunn and his son, that rhymes. One thing that really bothered me, I hated everything about this scene. When he's in his security store, I like the idea that he's working a security store, and it kind of is a good excuse for him to have all the surveillance equipment and stuff like that. But I really hated the design of his store. It looked like the fucking Progressive commercials, where Flo has like all these little boxes on a shelf, and everything's like super sterile and clean and white. And it looked like an Apple store, and it's like in downtown Philadelphia. I expect, first of all, I've never been in a security store, and the stores I've been in that have security stuff don't look anything like that. If Dunn is a superhero, if he's fighting crime and that's like his passion, it should be like a front, and it should be like a crappy kind of like rundown, like kind of like Ace Hardware, because it is like a mom and pop. It's a father-son store. It's just them two running it, from what I can tell. Mm-hmm. And it's like you don't see them like dusting shelves and like doing all this like marketing. It looked like an AT&T store where like sales reps come and be like, "Hi, have you heard about our new security package?" And this goes back in with it's just out of touch. It's like, when was the last time M. Night Shyamalan's been in like a brick and mortar store other than like maybe an Apple store? If he's a superhero, he's fighting crime. This should be like, that's his front. It should be just this like kind of like musty Home Depot small Ace Hardware looking store where it's like bolts and screws and cardboard boxes on the shelves, and someone comes in and it's like he's like trying to track a serial killer, and it's like, "Can you help me out with this shelf?" And he's like, "Get lost," and it's seeing that place as just like an Apple store. It's like, I don't fucking buy it. Like, are you serious? And then we get the fucking great M. Night Shyamalan cameo.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I thought it was gonna go somewhere, or was he in Unbreakable? That's what I thought.
Yeah, he was. He was in the stadium in Unbreakable, and he like sells drugs somewhere or something like that. I forgot exactly. But his cameo in Unbreakable is perfectly fine and serviceable, because he looks and acts like someone who would maybe be doing that. In this movie, he looks like a washed up, coked out Hollywood director who's making a low budget movie and wandered in front of the camera.
Yeah, but it's also like, it served no purpose other than to be like, "Oh, M. Night's back here."
It served no purpose, and it went on way too long.
Yeah.
It felt like I was watching a scene from The Room.
I watched...
he shows up and he's like, "Hi, I would like to buy this security device." And then Dunn's like, "Do I recognize you?" "Yeah, I used to hang out at the stadium." "Okay, bye." And then it just ends. And it's just completely unnatural. And from just the aesthetic of the scene to that dialogue, this is a guy who's just so fucking out of touch with like so many things in life, just like making a movie and writing dialogue, and just what a retail store looks like. I don't know. It was kind of emblematic of the movie for me. I watched
North by Northwest the other day. Hitchcock's cameo in that is so cool and subtle. It's like, I think the main character like gets in a taxi, like drives away, and then you just see Hitchcock about to get on a bus, but like the camera stays in him like 1 second longer than it would if he was just nobody. And that was it. He didn't say anything. He doesn't like look at the camera, nothing. And then that popped into my head when M. Night's cameo was going on. I was just like,
when he's on screen for like 1 minute and 48 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, and if he's like playing somebody...
Flat, even lighting.
Like in Signs, he plays a character. It's like, okay, but in this, he just kind of, I don't know. Maybe
she just kind of
this is his first.
Like, hey guys, it's me again.
This is his first cameo, I think, since he kind of came back. So maybe he's like, "Hey, remember me?"
Since you fucked that narf.
But yeah. So what did you think about this? Like the Bruce Willis fight, the first fight.
Oh yeah, the first fight was okay. So I liked it quite a bit when he was tracking him down looking for him. I like him like walking through construction workers and like bumping into people. That was interesting to me. One thing I didn't like, and it just like I don't know, it just felt so tacky. Was it's like a bunch of like cheerleaders chained up, and it's like something you'd expect from a movie parodying a B movie.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just like why do they have to be cheerleaders at night? Why are they like? It's just fucking kind of weird. Just again, it's one of those things I'm watching. I'm just like, why at night? Why? And I don't like the Beast's motives either, where it's like the untainted or something or whatever. If someone hasn't had like something horribly traumatic happen in their life, he wants to be the one that makes them have it, so he can feel better about himself, or something like that. I really hate that motive. I think it's kind of weak. I like you watch the Saw movies and it's like, oh, people who have destroyed their lives. It's like, and then this movie's like, oh, people who haven't destroyed their lives get attacked. And it's like, y'all fucking horror people, your motives suck. Go reevaluate your fucking lives.
Yeah, the Beast is just in a lot of this movie. He's really just in Split. He's like
the climax, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's like the whole movie. They just talk about it, and you're not really even sure if it's anything. And then he does like two things that are slightly superhumanish, kind of. And you're like, oh,
and one thing about the Beast is it's the whole gimmick of the Split character is him being able to act and switch characters. Then it's like when he turns into the Beast, which is supposed to be like the big character, like the main fucking central idea of the character. It's used. They have his voice is altered, and then they have like CGI veins on him. I swear to God, I'm gonna throw a spike strip outside my fucking apartment, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, that's another reason why just Split is better for his character, because the Beast is not just in it all the time. He becomes less scary, he becomes less interesting.
Yeah, the less is more kind of idea. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the whole movie, you're not even sure if he exists in Split until like the very end. It kind of makes it seem like, well, why would he not have come out by now if
he's shy?
Yeah. It's weird. And it's also like, I feel like, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like in Split it was like difficult to bring the Beast out or something. Because they seemed like they talked around it a lot and like they couldn't bring him out or like he wouldn't come out for some reason, something like that. And then in this movie he's just like hanging out all the time.
What's up, man? The Beast. Come here often.
I liked.
So yeah, but like you said, the fight. I think most people can agree. The fight in the beginning, yeah, it's good. It's interesting, and it's kind of cool to see one of those characters first show up and start fighting each other.
And I love the overseer
smashed against the wall with a table.
Yeah, I was like, well, she's dead.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, that would just break your fucking neck.
I love...
It was kind of like funny looking, I'll be honest, like the physics of it. It was just like you throw this table and there's just a shot and it was like, ah! And it's kind of like, I didn't know whether to be like, oh shit. I think I said like, oh shit, but and I kind of wanted to laugh or something. I don't know. It was a little strange.
I love...
And going back with that M. Night where everything's just like slightly off canter. Like,
I love the overseer and like what he has become in like the public eye.
Yeah, that was probably some of the best stuff in the movie to me.
Yeah, I kind of just want to see... I want to see, like, everything this movie hints at that it isn't. You know? Like, yeah. I kind of would have liked if it was more campy and fun, or more action-y, or more, like, just about the Overseer, just being a straight-up sequel to Unbreakable. I would like a lot of things, and then this movie just doesn't...
The thing is, it's not... It's unintentionally campy in a bad way with the final twist. It's not action-packed. It's trying to be a deconstruction of superhero movies and it thinks it's way more heady than it actually is. And that's a terrible, terrible place to get stuck in and fall into.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then they're in the asylum. And I like the asylum stuff for the most part. I thought it was interesting. What do you think of Sarah Paulson's...
I'm glad you said that because that's literally the next thing on my notes. Okay. I got Sarah Paulson. She is a phenomenal actress, but she just jettisons me out of movies. And I don't know if that's solely because of American Horror Story or... Here's the thing. Sarah Paulson, she looks like somebody from Los Angeles. And read into that how you will. But I don't think people who live in Los Angeles and grew up in Los Angeles and spend like decades in Los Angeles realize that. And just when I see her in movies or media of any sort, I'm like, oh, it's Sarah Paulson from American Horror Story. That being said, she does do a really good job chewing all of this fucking otherwise goofy dialogue in the hospital. Especially when we get to like the scenes like the Pink Room. She is the glue that holds that scene together.
That was an awesome scene.
She does a great job. So yeah, I liked the Pink Room, and it was a good scene on its own, but what kind of made it diminishing for me is the fact that all the dialogue and stuff that's said in that room was all said by Sarah Paulson to each of those characters individually again and again leading up to that scene. She meets with almost, I think all of them except for Glass, she meets with like all three of those characters, says everything about what she thinks about the superheroes, being fake and all that stuff, and just being a figment of their imagination, part of their brain. She says it to all of them. Then she says it again to all three of those characters' peripheral characters, like the mom, Thomason, and Dunn's son. And then we get to the Pink Room, and then she says it again to all of them. And it's like, it really is just repetitive as all hell. Yeah. And I was really feeling it by the time I was like, the Pink Room, I was like, oh, this is great. They're all together in the same room. You get a nice aesthetic. Kind of looks like a Wes Anderson movie, funnily enough.
Yeah.
But it was deflated by just running in circles leading up to it.
Well,
and that's what really kills the middle part of the movie for me, is just so much of just repetition of the same thing.
Well, two things about the Pink Room. One thing I do like about it that makes it different from just repeating the same stuff, which I do mostly agree with you. But also, she has like the evidence then that their brain scans came up with all this shit. And so I was like, maybe is this movie going to be like they're not actually special? And then they're going to be like, I thought that could have been an interesting turn. But then also, when you were just describing the Pink Room scene, and I thought you were going to go here, but then you didn't, they don't really like talk to each other, which kind of seems like the setup a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, get all three of them in a room together, they're going to really like bounce off each other. And there could have been a really cool, maybe not if M. Night wrote it, but if somebody else wrote it, like if you gave that scene to Tarantino or something, it probably would have been like...
Oh, it would have been intense. Yeah.
Crazy.
Nice slow down pace, because it was a slow down pace scene. And Paulson does say all the things in that scene better than she says it in the other scenes. And like her motive in that is, it's more articulated, it's less ambiguous, and it's less kind of just like that kind of annoying, like, you're not a superhero, it's in your head. And it's like, no, we just saw him like do a bunch of crazy shit. He's a fucking superhero. She says it better in the Pink Room scene. But yeah, the character interaction between those three is a little lackluster. I actually do have this noted down. Is Glass and Dunn, when Glass comes back into the room, this should be like one of the most dramatic points of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of isn't. He just gets wheeled in and he's like, what's this guy doing here? He killed all those people. When you have a movie that's like a slow burn, there's not much happening, you have a low budget, you can kind of tip the scale of your movie, and you can use cinematography and dramatic effect and writing to make smaller moments more dramatic and seem more significant in the movie. That scene when Glass gets wheeled in the room and Dunn sees him again for the first time could have been like immensely more intense than it is. It could have been like, like bring in patient number 3, and then it's just like you hear like a wheelchair coming down the aisle, and it's slowly zooming in on Dunn, and he's starting to realize, starting to be like, wait, And then Glass comes in, it's like, dun, dun, dun. And then Dunn, like, tries to rip out of his chair, and then Sarah Paulson would be like, you're not a hero, you can't actually do this. And then he's like, you know, it could have been so intense, and instead it's just a completely squandered opportunity to have a dramatic effect in this otherwise somewhat slow part of the movie. And, again, going back to emblematic of Shyamalan, of writing a script, is just focusing on the wrong things and doing weird stuff in weird areas and missing out on some of the, like, that's a very Spielbergian kind of moment that could have been, and completely looked over it, completely missed it.
Yeah. So after that scene, just earlier, I guess, the setup of their rooms is kind of cool. I don't really get Glass's room if that does anything. I think his is just a regular room.
No, it's just a regular room because he's completely, they could run it and just like kick him in the shin.
Yeah, but Dunn's room is cool, but like, what? I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know how they constructed that to be.
It doesn't make much sense. I thought it was gonna be a bunch of like it would make sense if it was like a bunch of water hoses. I don't know. It's just that is incredibly silly. I remember being afraid of water from Unbreakable, but I don't remember it being like his weakness per se. And then I also don't really get it because in the end he falls into the giant tub of water and he just punches his way out. It's not like he loses his power in there.
Well, no, he doesn't like lose power, but it's the only thing that can like kill him. Because in the original movie,
well, what I'm saying is if he can fall into a vat of water and punch a hole through the side of it to get out, he could probably punch through the fucking door while getting sprayed with a few hoses.
Yeah, it's a weird weakness. It works a lot better in Unbreakable. Cause
it's more of a weakness in the fucking script than there's a weakness in the fucking actual characters like in the movie.
Yeah, in Unbreakable, it's like he's like thinking on the fact that he's never been sick in his life, and then he gets told, they're like, oh yeah, something did happen to you. You like drowned when you were a kid. And he was like, oh shit, well I'm not a superhero. But then that's like his just one weakness, and then but anyway. Yeah, I don't know how his room works, but I really like the light idea for the split guy, even though I think it's just, that's like, if I were to have read this script as James McAvoy, I would kind of be like, well, fuck. Damn, okay, that's a lot for me to do. Like, I was impressed by his performance in Split, and just how close it gets to, like, being, like, too much that you're just like, okay, like, this is kind of cheesy. Like, the little kid one, and, you know.
Yeah.
But I think, and especially, I mean, seeing through your perspective of, like, not seeing Split and just seeing this movie, it probably is way worse than me already respecting Split and that, like, performance. And knowing, like, the characters and stuff, and then seeing this, I already, like, have an opinion that it's good. If I didn't have that, it would probably be worse. Because there were points where I was like, I think it was when that guy is in the room, like the security guard guy is in his room and just starts like pressing the light over and over again. I'm finding it harder to tell between these characters as they're switching. Like his body, he doesn't have a chance for his like body movements to change and all that stuff. So, because that's a lot of what made Split cool. Because it was kind of just like one-on-ones with each character. And they did move differently, talk differently. It was cool, and it wasn't overdone. Like, there's one part in Split that I thought was really cool. It's one of his personas lying, pretending to be one of his other personas. And that's interesting. Yeah, and the character can tell because it's like him acting as this other one. Like, it was cool stuff like that.
That's like the Bugs Bunny acting like Daffy Duck.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so...
Yeah. Once you get on past the rooms, once you get on past the pink room scene, it's just, I got to a point where I'm watching all this, and I'm asking my head, I'm like, where is this going? What is this leading to? I'm getting this weird, vague information, this pseudo-deconstruction of superhero comics where they're talking about them being documentations of people doing amazing things. And I'm just, in my head, I'm like, oh god, this is all just hot air that's going nowhere. And that's kind of what it ended up being. And you get all these really long sequences with the security guards in the hotels and them escaping, Glass going to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And they're not terrible, but they're long. They're quite long, and then we're not getting a lot of information in this time period. And the information we are is this like vague and lofty kind of just like dialogue that I think M. Night thinks is way more heady than it actually is. And
I liked.
I mean, we know that the climax is now, and looking back at it, I'm like, it is crap. It's just a bunch of hot air. It's just this whole middle act of this movie is just. I was watching it, and while I was watching, I'm like, could be interesting if it goes somewhere. Mm-hmm. This could be forgiving. This pacing, if it builds up to something, and all this stuff we've been fed, kind of coaxes together to make some sort of message or motive or deconstruction or something interesting. But we all know how it turns out. I can't really think of much to talk about until the fight, to be honest.
Well, I wanted to mention how long it takes for Samuel L. Jackson's character to like speak or really do anything. I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. And then the security guards. There was one scene that I was like, it was kind of like the Salt Bay thing. It was when he was coming in and just talking to that one guy. I thought it was kind of funny though for some reason. Like the guy was like, "How much water are you drinking?" It's like, not enough, man. It's like, you gotta do it. It's like, you gotta eat that. The vitamin D is what you need, man. And like, I swear I've heard people have that like same conversation before. But
so that I actually is like, I talked about the Salt Bay thing, and it's like, this is weird. This is not people talk. That one is like, my issue with that is, this is taking too long.
Yeah.
Like, come on, we don't need to see this. This isn't adding anything. And the conversation, I was like, yeah, this probably how some security guards would talk at a place like this. This is pretty realistic dialogue. But, come on, hurry up.
I think that's like, because I saw that same exact thing in Halloween, the newest Halloween movie. Like, for some reason, they felt the need to have a funny scene in the middle of this shit, and it's these two cops in a car, and they just talk about like sandwiches for a little while, and it's like that same kind of stuff where it's like, there's not really jokes. It's just the fact that they're talking about something normal people would talk about is supposed to be funny. And you're kind of just like, this is taking a long time.
Yeah. And let me go ahead and say something right now. I love slow burn movies. I am very into classical movies. I like God, one of my favorite movies ever is Tarkovsky's fucking Stalker. Talk about a slow burn. But look, like, I'm not the guy to say, I'm saying hurry it up, speed it up, you're doing something really, really wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching this, I'm thinking now about, I'm like, wait, what happened between the pink room and the fight scene? Because quite a bit of time passed from then. But I can't think of anything specific that I want to talk, because it's just, just these slow scenes of the security guys walking around, doing their thing. Samuel L. sneaks around a little bit. Yeah, he takes out. You actually barely see Dunn for a little while. You get some of the split guy doing stuff.
Yeah.
You get the peripheral characters who just, I don't give a damn what they're doing. I'll be honest with you. Thomason's interesting because she's a good actress. But having them go to the comic book stores and just all this stuff is just like, it's all just hot air. It really is just nothing for like 30 minutes of the movie, I'm going to say. I'm guesstimating that between the pink room and the fight.
I thought the setup for... So there's like two twists in this movie. And the setup for the big twist is nothing. There's no setup. And the setup for the small twist, which I have a huge problem with, is set up twice. One, when M. Night is sneaking around, he like reads something.
It's Samuel L. Jackson. I called him M. Night too.
Oh, yeah, what the hell? No, they're both...
It's weird, like, their names are, like consonants in them.
Yeah, they're just a letter. Samuel L. is sneaking around, he, like, reads something in somebody's file, and he's like, and then... M.
Night Jackson.
Same with Bruce Willis' son, is, like, reading online, he's like, oh my god. And that is shitty, that twist.
You're talking about the train one?
Yeah. That was...
I actually don't... Okay, so I don't mind that twist on its own, but I do mind it in like the larger context of Glass's character. But I guess we'll get into that. I actually do have one thing I want to say. about before moving on. This is something that was on more of a miscellaneous note, but it ties in with Thomason.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Thomason! Fucking this... And this is like the thing with the cheerleader as well. I'm like, isn't that a creep? Where it's like this relationship with this high school girl and James McAvoy's character. And it's literally Stockholm Syndrome.
It's a little bit, but again, you haven't seen Split, so it does get kind of weird. I bought it.
But the whole idea of someone being like, no, I love him, he's just not himself when this is happening. That is literally fucking Stockholm Syndrome. And the thing is, you can make that part of the movie, and you can write that in the movie and have like a kind of intriguing part of that. But I don't think M. Night, writing this movie, was aware that he was writing this like Stockholm Syndrome-esque relationship with them. And it's just like, then Sarah Paulson asks, like, he needs love to save him. And yeah, it was hack and a little tacky, a little distasteful.
Well,
bizarre.
Yeah, but she's weird though. If you watch Split, you kind of get, it makes more sense than it just seems if you just watch this movie, because she is weird too. Like at the end of Split, I thought the twist was going to be that she has a split personality too. Like she's weird also, and they kind of connect in this weird way.
Yeah, and you get some vibes to that.
Yeah, and I don't fully
it still is
buy
like
it, but
the whole just like he's good, trust me, this just isn't him right now. Is like, that's literally fucking Stockholm Syndrome. That's literally what people with Stockholm Syndrome fucking say, or like people in abusive relationships say. And I don't know, I've seen people in abusive relationships in real life, and seeing it in a movie that is just like woefully unaware of that, it's just kind of like, fuck you.
I don't know. I didn't read it. I didn't read it that way because I have seen Split, but
alright, that's what I got out of it at least. Alright, so we're on to the fight. Yeah. This movie is one big side, like one of those
fucking
sides.
I've never seen a movie do this before that sets up a great climax only to give you.
You know they weren't gonna go to the towers.
I was hoping.
I knew they weren't either.
That they would. Like, I was like, okay, that'll be really cool, and that'll be.
I was kind of relieved when they didn't, because I knew it'd be like really bad CGI, and it would look like a 2000s movie, where it was like this like neo-tech thing in the middle of Philly. Philly's an old fucking city, dude. It is not like metropolis looking.
Yeah.
And that building was like, yeah, that thing is never going to exist in Philly. Fuck off.
Yeah, and but to just bait and switch like a better climax, and then not even giving like a, I don't know, man.
Well, if this movie were actual deconstruction of the superhero genre, and it actually made good use of that bait and switch into this sort of theme of deconstruction, it could work in that way, but that's not what this movie is. And it's, yeah, I get your gripes. It also like highlights it. It's writing in a huge like marker in your own script that just makes the entire audience realize how low your budget is. This movie feels so low budget because they make decisions that just kind of like make you realize that it's that way. They, like you said with that bait and switch, is they give you this, like, this is going to be this huge thing, and like Glass himself is talking, they're hyping it up, and then they don't, and it's like, you know, that's because of the budget. They couldn't even get off the lawn of that area.
Yeah, and it was just like
he could have like tumbled around and like maybe into like tumbled down a hill to like a creek or a park or something like that, or like just even a street.
So
it was like there's a big invisible fence there.
Yeah, they start fighting. Well, first they fight to get out, and I do like there's one shot of Samuel L. Jackson like wheeling away from the Split guy, like beating the shit out of a bunch of people. I liked that shot.
Yeah, that's a shot everyone always talks about. It is a very good shot, and actually I'll bring up the cinematography. So this movie has like some like fantastic cinematography like that, which is that you have a low budget, you need to film a fight scene. That's how you do it right there. That's perfect, excellent, great shot. And then you just get these other just like weird fucking M. Night like shots that are This guy jumps between like amazing Spielbergian Hollywood director to like pretentious film student, like in the hair of a second. And he does these shots where it's like an overhead view and then it turns until it's upside down, and it's just like, oh god. I don't know. He has this weird thing where I want to say he's a good director, and then I also want to say he's a terrible director at the time, and it's just bizarre. It just feeds into that just strangeness of M. Night movies.
He's out there, and then I kind of got hyped for a second because Samuel L. Jackson's like, all the main characters together or something, and I was like, this could be cool if this is like a by the books like comic book climax, and it's set up to be that way by Glass, and like that's kind of interesting, and that is something he would do. But then I guess it doesn't go to plan. Like, well, no, because it does go to plan later on. You find out, but
it's this fucking goes to the contrived plan. Another shot I wanted to talk about, actually, that cinematography thing. There's a shot where the Beast like kills two cops, but it's like filmed like a fucking National Lampoon's movie, where he like jumps behind the car.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh, and then one guy like crawls out, and you just see him like, oh, and you're like dragged back behind it.
Yeah.
And it's just the corniest fucking shot.
It kind of reminded me of.
Outside.
Isn't there some stuff kind of like that in like Jurassic Park movies?
I think there was in Jurassic Park 2, yeah, and Jurassic Park 3 maybe so. Yeah, there is some stuff in Jurassic Park like that, but not quite of. I don't know, something about it just being like dudes in like cop outfits in front of like on like a little lawn.
And it's a
like in the Jurassic Park ones, at least you get like cool sound mixing of like Velociraptor noises, like and shit like that.
Yeah, and it's like a monster instead of like just a man that's
just a dude
calling himself a beast.
Because you need to make people believe that the Beast is more than just a dude with his fucking shirt off.
Yeah.
And when you do shit like that, it's just like goofy.
I kind of thought.
So they fight.
I kind of thought when Bruce Willis breaks out, I was like, he should call the police. If he really is like a good guy who's worried about this happening, he should just call the police and then also maybe try to help. But
Dunn never should have been arrested in the fucking first place, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because he's like, he's being...
Because he literally saved those three girls, and they have three witnesses saying this guy saved us from this fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
Like, he never should have been arrested. And that, off the bat of the movie, throws it off. And it makes sense in the full context where it's this secret society, corrupt organization, so it's like they could probably throw whoever they want in jail. But the whole movie, Bruce Willis should have been, why am I here? Why did you guys arrest me? I saved these people. Like, he shouldn't be in jail. He shouldn't have been locked up.
Well, he was, like, being pursued by the police for a while for being, like, a vigilante.
I guess, yeah, but it's weak. It's just seeing him get arrested like that when he was clearly, like, saving the day. It's just
beating the shit out of Salt Bay kids.
Yeah. Salt bang the shit out of people.
Like, maybe they should have picked a more sinister group for him to fight at the beginning. But maybe the point is that he's beating the shit out of, like, just kids sometimes. Like, asshole kids.
Yeah, he did beat the shit out of some kids in the beginning.
Yeah, he looked like he fucking murdered the first kid. He, like, threw him up against the wall sideways. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Snaps his fucking neck.
But yeah, so they fight. The, like, SWAT team shows up. Then the twist is revealed. Twist number 1 is revealed. And I like the shot on the train, just because it was kind of cool.
Oh, see the footage transition. It was interesting.
And I liked that the film clearly got older for a second, but it was, like, cool. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of reused footage in this, which is interesting to see. Good way to make good use of your budget when you gotta pay for Bruce Willis.
Yeah, back when we had maybe a bigger budget. That was dumb.
Didn't mind that. You didn't like that twist.
That twist is awful because it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't. You're right.
It does absolutely nothing. It doesn't tie into Mr. Glass's plan. It doesn't change the outcome of anything. The only thing it does is that James McAvoy kills Mr. Glass, which you find out very quickly he was going to die anyway, right then. And Mr. Glass already knows. It's pretty. You can assume based on his final plan when it's revealed that he already knew he was going to die there. So it accomplishes nothing. Like for a second, I was like, "Oh, is he going to help Bruce Willis?" And then no, it's just like they just start fighting, and I'm like, "Well, why?" So they all three just hate each other now? Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why did this happen? That doesn't make any sense.
To make Glass seem like more of a genius. But my issue with the twist, I kind of like them being on the same train, but my issue with the twist is like, yeah, this kid's got way more. It's like, what is the thing? His dad was going to come home and be like, hey, stop being mean to our son. And then it was just, the whole problem was going to go away? Like, no. It's very weak. And then I don't know if it was like he was trying to create Unbreakable or he was trying to create the Overseer as the hero. And it was like this was a side effect and he was like, I got 2 for 1. Or if it was like he was like, yeah, I intentionally built them both. It's like bullshit. You could fucking intentionally be like, all right, this guy's dad's gonna get on this train, and this guy, if his dad is gonna go talk to his mom later tonight, but if he gets on this train, I destroy the train, and he's not gonna go talk to the mom, and he's not gonna make the mom stop beating up on the kid, and the kid's not gonna have this disorder, and then it's just like, no, that's bullshit. It's
I didn't read it as he intentionally like knew that was gonna happen. I think he was like happily surprised.
He was trying to do it with Dunn, and it happened with the other one too, and it was like, yeah. He was like ecstatic.
Well, his original plan in Unbreakable is just to find a superhuman.
Yeah.
I don't think he was like trying to create them. But then I think he's like pleasantly surprised that one accident.
He got 2. He got 2 for. He got BOGO.
Yeah. So that's stupid. It does absolutely nothing. And I thought that was the twist. And then...
Well, I'm not done resonating on that one a little bit, because I want to talk about Glass's character, too. Because while I didn't mind that twist that much, Glass's whole character... so, Unbreakable kind of is... I would say Unbreakable is a more heady movie from what I remember of it. I would say that it's a little more, like, restrained and thoughtful and intellectual with how it deals with materials and stuff like that. And it actually does make you think. And Glass's character, it kind of made you think, is like, is this guy a mastermind, or is this guy just a fucking, like, lunatic with an unhealthy coping mechanism?
Yeah.
And in this movie, it's like, oh no, he's a mastermind, and he has the third eye. He's using 20% of his brain more than the average human, and shit like that. His IQ is 900, and it's just kind of like, it's cliche, and I'm not that interested.
Yeah, I didn't think he was like that fucking smart and Unbreakable.
Yeah, I don't think he was at all.
I think he was like
fundamentally changed the overall character of Glass from this like kind of like, yeah, this is a guy with an unhealthy coping mechanism for his like condition, and then change that into like, oh, he's a genius.
I think the idea was that he's evil as shit and Unbreakable. Because yeah, he's smart, but he, caused all these disasters. I don't think...
Exactly.
I never got the idea that causing these disasters took, like, some crazy genius brain. It was just like...
Well, he literally just commits arson.
Yeah, he, like, causes shit to blow up and...
It's not complex.
It's just, why would you do it? You would have to be, like, evil. Or, like, want to be evil, which is basically his whole character, which is cool. But, yeah, unless he's, like... can get out of his room. It doesn't even explain how he gets out of his room the first time.
I don't think the door was even locked.
Well, that's pretty convenient for the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's like, look, I'm sure M. Night could have written a scene of him creating a lockpick out of fucking, like, MacGyver, like, toothpicks or something.
Yeah.
But would you really want that after that guy talking about vitamin D and drinking more water?
Yeah. Oh, man. Then, okay, so they go into the tub.
Can I just talk about that? They keep showing that thing, like, throughout the movie. Like, there's, like, 3 exterior shots of the building where you see that.
It got weirder and weirder looking.
The CGI. You have a low-budget movie. What do you spend your movie budget on? A CGI tarp. on the water tank?
I think the whole thing was CGI.
Okay, so you think the whole thing was CGI? I think you might be right about that. I don't realize that. It makes more sense if the whole thing was CGI because I saw it and I just noticed the tarp. I'm like, why is that tarp CGI? Why would you make a CGI tarp? Why would you can get a tarp for $20 from Home Depot?
And then you could have got later in the whole thing for cheap, probably.
Yeah, you could have got the whole thing for probably like $2,000 on fucking Craigslist and like anywhere remotely rural. But I'm watching that and I'm like, why is this tarp CGI? And then later I see them when they have the shot where they fall in and they fall through the tarp, and I was like, oh, maybe he filmed it and they didn't have a tarp over it, and he realized later, and it was like, well, instead of filming that again, we just have to add a CGI tarp, which is a waste of money. It's a waste of your very low, limited budget. But if it is, the whole thing is CGI, then it was probably like the owners of the facility like wouldn't let them build that there or something like that. But that's bullshit also, because you didn't need to put water in it. You could just make like a wood one and just, use trick photography to make it look like a water tank. It's bizarre. It's very bizarre.
I'm pretty sure the whole
bad
thing,
use of budget.
Because it filmed it in a way that was like, why are you filming this like this? When it would just show the tank itself, it would kind of stay on it too long. And it was this weird very subtle push move on it, kind of. And I was just like, is that a fucking fake tank? If it had shown it for 1 second or 1.5 seconds, I think I would have been like, oh, cool, there's a tank outside, got it.
It's establishing shots that they use it for, and that's okay, establishing shots. But, and then you notice it's wait, that's a CGI fucking tarp right there. And it's you're right, it's so just what the fuck? What is this?
And you'd think...
it's like Chekhov's rifle, but it's...
You'd think that should be I've heard from places about CGI that cars are one of the easiest things to make look great in CGI because it's just an inanimate object that moves and does a lot of stuff in movies, but it's basically an inanimate object where you could just change the lighting on it and stuff like that. So that's great and easy to do for movies instead of living creatures and stuff like that, which is easy to tell that's fake. But this is just a fucking tank. It's just a white sphere.
Oh my god. And yet, no, the tarp is blowing in the wind on top of it. And you don't need that. You can make the tarp sitting there. And I probably wouldn't have noticed it. But it's blowing in the wind, and it's obviously a texture that's more difficult to do. But it was really bad. And then, they fall in it later. I'm like, oh, they fell in the CGI tarp. And though it's a $20 million movie, and I swear to God, 10 of that $20 million, at least 10 of that $20 million went to Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. And you're spending money on a fucking CGI fucking tarp/water tank. And it's just kind of baffling.
They could have just made the top of the tank just tank.
Yeah. They could have done 100 other options. And I think 92 of those 100 other options would have been better.
How did they fall into the tank?
That's a good question. Who knows?
For some reason I thought they busted through the side, but then they end up busting through the side to get out. But if they had busted through the side into it, then...
Well, that's how they get out of it. Then they fall in the tank. And it's confusing to me because I thought Bruce Willis's weakness was water. And I thought it was a weakness enough to where a few hoses could paralyze him or immobilize him or it would make him not strong or not feel strong. But he falls in, they're wrestling, and it's oh, how the fuck he's done? How's he gonna get out of here?
He is done.
And then he just punches and he's done. He just punches to the side. I'm like, oh, I guess water's not that big of a deal for him. And then this great shot when he punches to the side, and you see the exterior and it's starting to crack, and they have these fucking hilarious water plug-ins of these water faucets leaking out of the side of the CGI tank. And they're so bad. There's one that's it's on the left side of the tank, but it's leaking out to the right side, and it looks like they didn't invert it horizontally how they should have. It looks like the water's squirting out the wrong direction. It's so bad looking.
And they also, during this time, they show the puddle that he's going to end up being drowned in.
Oh, they foreshadow it. Yeah, that's the thing is like he did pretty fucking great in that water tank fighting the beast, but then that dude just fucking drowns him in a puddle like a fucking bitch.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Couldn't he have just fucking pushed that guy off?
Yeah, it was that guy had to have been stronger than him. I mean, or something. Jesus Christ. I guess he was tired from fighting the beast, but like that guy had to be at least as strong as Dunn because he just fucking was just like face down, like gave him a swirly.
Dude, this part of the movie just it sucks. I don't know how.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Nobody told this to M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, because M. Night Shyamalan doesn't want to listen to anyone else. That's why he only has $20 million.
Well, I could see Bruce Willis, because he doesn't give a fuck, be like, this is pretty shitty. I don't think people are going to like this very much. All of our characters to just...
care. Bruce Willis wasn't even there. That was some extra in a fucking poncho getting drowned. That wasn't Bruce Willis. He probably didn't even read the fucking script for all those scenes. He probably was like, send the script to my agent, and the agent sent him like the 20 fucking pages of script that he had to actually act in.
Yeah, I don't know why you would come to the conclusion that the audience would want to see just all the main characters just die like bitches.
I was okay with the way that the beast died until they had that shot where they're panning past the sniper rifle, or they're trucking or dollying past the sniper rifle down it. And then you just see like the tattoo on the wrist, and immediately when I saw the tattoo, I knew exactly what was happening. I was like, oh, we're doing this.
I didn't.
So bad.
I didn't get it. Even when you saw the Dunn flashback, like when he touched Sarah Paulson's hand, I was like, wait, what? They're eating dinner? I was like, okay. It was fucking...
That was hilarious.
It was...
That scene was so out of place. And they do it twice. And it's so... Again, going back to M. Night, it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like, he's so out of touch with, like, writing and, like, reality, where it's like this... And it really does, you know, mentioning Sarah Paulson, this movie does turn into an episode of American Horror Story at the end of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're in a restaurant, and then, like, one couple getting takeout leaves, and then everyone just stops eating, and is like, all right, everyone, you're gathered here today. And it's like, what the fuck? How impractical is that? How long do they have to wait there before everyone fucking left? Wouldn't you just get a reserved? And it's like, is it supposed to be like this cool, like, hiding in plain sight kind of thing? Because it's just fucking the most absurd thing ever.
And it's just...
Joining that in with Dunn touching him while she's delivering this, like, monologue while he's drowning in this, like, dramatic scene, then you just cut to that. It's just like, whoa, where are we now? What is this? What's happening?
Yeah, it's one of the least satisfying endings to a movie I've ever seen.
The final twist, I think is so hack. It's so bad. It's not original in any way. It's so fucking dumb. It is one of the dumbest twists I've ever seen in a movie of this secret society. And you can't even come up with a cool fucking logo for them. You just do a 3-leaf clover. The second you see that clover tattoo, and then going back to like the hiding in plain sight thing, is like, you think this fucking like secret society, like they fucking like have tattoos so they can tell each other apart on the wrist? What is this fucking like prison?
And then Samuel Jackson, when Sarah Paulson's like talking to Samuel Jackson, it's like, in the comic books, the secret society, blah blah blah, and it was like, there's Hydra. I don't know any other like secret societies really in comic books. Is that a big?
I know. It's like, are you getting confused with like fucking Blofeld and fucking Spectre? Like,
yeah, okay. What got Hydra.
What are you talking about, Paulson? All the superhero fucking talk in this movie is just like nonsense. It's just complete nonsense. I don't think M. Night Shyamalan fucking reads comic books.
This is an origin story. I was like, for who?
And for everyone, bro.
Yeah, at the end, it was like, okay, but this would be a really shitty origin story for any superhero. If the beginning of Spider-Man 1 was just like...
Unless you saw Dunn's son kick some ass.
Yeah, unless somebody... Or the split...
And if he was a better actor, too.
And...
Kick some ass.
And you saw Dunn...
And then Thomason would be like Rogue, and she could like tap into people and like make them change their...
Yeah, it's Samuel's mom's bones just break. Because she's actually 90 years old.
Oh. Yeah, that's not a superpower. That's just her age. That's why when I was thinking, I was like, oh my god, they're superpower. Dunn's gonna be super strong. Thomason's gonna have like the fucking Scarlet Witch powers, and then I was like, what the fuck is Samuel Jackson's mom, who's younger than him, gonna do? Her power is that she can't grow old.
Yeah, so her power is that she is the exact same age as her son. I don't know how that happened.
She's been around since like the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, yeah. And it just really made me sad. When me and my mom walked out of the theater, we both kind of agreed that, and this is so bad for...
You know how lame you fucking sound talking, like, criticizing this movie? Be like, me and my mother.
Yeah.
See this movie.
Well, you know, I like seeing movies with my mom.
But you saw it with your mom. Yeah. Anyways, you guys agreed on what now?
Because she just saw Unbreakable. She was, like, kind of pumped about it. We were both like, I kind of wish I just didn't see that movie.
I've heard that from a lot of people. I've heard this movie's been, like, incredibly... I mean, there's people who are, like, fans of Unbreakable. Like, big fans. And then they like Split, too. And I feel genuinely bad for those people.
Well, it's just...
Shyamalan is back on his bullshit.
The idea of the movie is better than the movie. And
what's the idea, though? I don't think there's much of an idea at all.
No, just that, like, like, they're in the same universe, there's going to be a sequel.
Okay.
That idea, I would rather it have just been never made, and you were like, what? But then what could have happened? Like, that idea is better than seeing this.
Like, if the budgeting fell through for this movie, like,
yeah, and
nothing worked, and just, he abandoned it. It was like, ah.
And the end of Split was just like, wait, what the fuck? You know, that's cooler than this fucking movie, because it kind of ruins the storylines for... You just see Bruce Willis's character die like a bitch, which is like really lame.
The definition of anticlimactic, yeah.
The Split guy is just kind of like, okay. I don't know.
It's the most run-of-the-mill way you can go with that character, where he's like kind of redeemed and then dies. It's very generic for him.
Also, Kevin, like his main persona, like who he actually is. In the first movie, he like is gone basically. Like he will not come out. He only comes out at the very end. He's kind of like the Beast. And in this movie, they bring him out like a couple times. It's like, M. Night, did you watch Split?
Yeah, it's like he doesn't understand his own material.
Like I guess he's like taking it
like a mastermind.
He's taking it further, and you can't do the same stuff again. But it's kind of like breaking its own rules. Like the Beast is...
It fundamentally changes the character. That's what it does.
Well, Glass is a genius, apparently. So
he planned all this out.
He knows what piece to take out of a machine that's going to laser his brain.
Yeah, he got his brain lasered. I forgot about that.
I was like, what is this laser going to do anyway?
Where did he hide that thing?
Yeah, no, it's just laying on the table.
Up his glass hole.
Also, what? I mean, they just...
Wouldn't the laser, if you just like remove like a lens from it, wouldn't the laser just be like unrefined and just like blow his head off like a fucking Star Wars laser?
Yeah, what if he just took...
I don't know.
What if he just took that out and it doesn't do anything? That's just like a spare part. Like he just took it out like he knew exactly what it was. It's like, okay, being a genius doesn't mean that you know about every machine, you know? I don't know. Maybe he saw it earlier in the movie.
Geniuses are genius in like their own niche.
Earlier in the movie,
everything.
They say like he memorized some blueprint that he saw while passing, and he was able to mess with the electricity or something. So maybe it was something like that. But also, I was kind of confused by the part when right before he reveals that he has that piece. When he slices that guy's throat with the glass, he's like, it took me forever to find the right piece or something. I was like, what does that mean? Because it showed that...
He shattered the glass and he had to find one that was like the right size to hold in his hand so the guy's throat with, you know?
Yeah, but he had one picture in there basically broke. He only had a certain amount of pieces.
Well, maybe it fell on the floor, and he had trouble getting out of his wheelchair to get it. And it was just like it shattered. And it was like all over the floor in the place, and it was like it's a very like bright room. The floor was like white tile, and you just couldn't see it.
I guess. I mean, it's a weird line. I was like,
yeah.
What?
I mean, there's a lot of fucking weird lines in this movie. That's one of the ones that didn't really catch my eye. It's that weird.
Well, that's Glass.
Out of all the M. Night dialogue in this shit.
Oh, no. We're not done. So the end of the movie, she's in a fucking comic book store. Don't know why. Sarah Paulson. And then
yeah, Jesus Christ.
Somebody's in the background.
I was already so done with it by that point. I was just like, yeah, okay, she's in a comic book store, sure. She's looking up source material for her next fucking person she needs to arrest and shoot a laser into the brain with. Fuck it. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, somebody in the background's like, the bad guy's master plan is never, when you think it's over, it's not over, man. And then...
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
And she's like, holy shit, he's right. And then...
He's streaming it.
And then, he's been streaming it to people. Which he's not actually streaming it. It seems like he just sent the videos to... I don't think
M. Night knows what streaming is. Just like he doesn't know what hardware stores.
And they're also like already edited. Like they're in little segments like separate from each other.
Yeah.
If he had streamed it, it would have already been a big deal. Sarah Paulson wouldn't have to have had it like spoiled to her.
The idea that Sarah Paulson's hanging out in a comic book store. A comic book store that sorts its comics by heroes and villains with big neon lights.
I kind of like that, even though...
Because villains have their own comic books.
Well, they do, but...
With no heroes in them. They do, but usually when it's like a character like Venom, where it's almost like an anti-hero, but like... usually they're pretty intertwined with each other a lot of times.
They're cool neons. Just, I like the neons.
The lights in there. It's how you get you fool the dummies with cinematography. It's emblematic.
So the very end is just like it's everything bad about M. Night Shyamalan in one scene. It was pretty bad. There's the three of them holding hands or whatever as they see everybody notice it.
And we're in a bus station for a viral video to drop,
which is a weird thing to do. But also, if I saw those videos, I don't think I would like freak out, and nobody would be freaking out all at the same time. If I were to see those videos, I would just be like, "This is fake."
Wow, those guys did a lot of meth.
Yeah, or like, this is probably fucking fake or something. I don't really believe this, or I don't know.
Or I'd be like, why did that guy get thrown in that CGI fucking tank?
That guy flipped a car.
It's obviously fake. That's a CGI fucking water taker. Did you see how bad the plugins were?
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy video, but I don't think I would question reality after that. I think I would just be like, holy fuck.
Holy fuck, I'm gonna go buy some meth.
Yeah, what if that was the twist? It was like...
The twist is they just come in one night and the beast is just in there with a little fucking crack pipe, just like...
So we tested your brains. Turns out you're all on meth and have been for a very, very long time. For 19 years... How?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like 19 years since Breaking came out, right?
Yeah, 19 years. God. 19 years in the making, all for this. Yeah, so the final message of the movie is kind of like...
that heroes...
We're all superheroes. We're all superheroes at heart. And you just need to wake up and believe in yourself.
Or...
Just the corniest shit in the fucking world.
Or you're the villains. Like...
Yeah, or you're the villains, I don't know. And it's kind of like, the movie doesn't really vindicate Glass. Like, it acts like... It vindicates his idea of, like, superheroes being real, but it kind of, like, more like, it's like, oh, this is Dunn's... everyone sees Dunn as the hero, but in actuality, it was Glass. He was a fucking terrible person. He killed all these people to make this happen. And it vindicates Glass's idea, but kind of, like, staples it onto Dunn. It's just fucking... just bizarre on so many levels. And this, I think, man, this was supposed to be like M. Night's big comeback. He was kind of having like a little renaissance there. Mm-hmm. Then his last movie that did pretty well financially and critically and had a good following, had that little drop in there. It was like, you remember my best movie? Bam, back in this bitch. And we're like, it seemed like this was the platform that he was going to spring back onto the scene with. And it's just not. It's just bad.
I think what makes M. Night Shyamalan bad is his ego. Not to like psychoanalyze the guy, but basically that's what I'm doing.
Oh no, there's definitely ego going on. I think he thinks he's way more creative than he actually is.
Yeah, and The Visit and Split are like him being like, all right, maybe not. Maybe I just need to do a cool thriller with an interesting premise. And The Visit is...
Well, you know, apparently Split was a screenplay that was written a long, long time ago.
By M. Night or somebody else?
By M. Night. I've heard that was a screenplay that was written back in like after Unbreakable or something like that.
Well, the way it's put together is so not... It's not overblown and it's not in your face with like some like fucking ideas and shit like that. It's just kind of a cool thriller. And then it ends with the weird ending. But The Visit is so small that, and funny, I was like, maybe M. Night's not taking itself too seriously anymore. Split kind of has a sense of humor to it. I was like, I kind of like this. And then this movie is just like, damn it, you got
God damn it.
You got a little bit of success again, and you're just like, oh, well,
you just fucked it up.
I'm God again. And it's like, no, Split is not The Sixth Sense. Split was just, hey, you're cool in my book again. And I will always, after this little comeback, I'm just like back on M. Night's side, just probably forever. Like I'll probably see all his movies forever because he's such an interesting...
You say that now, but his next movie that comes out is...
Yeah, it might look like shit.
It's gonna be Lady in the Water too.
Yeah. Well, did you not see the after credits sequence of Glass?
No, fuck no. I walked the fuck out of this movie after credits.
Well,
was Sarah Paulson fucking buying gumballs in a comic book store?
No,
I don't fucking give a shit.
No, the Lady in the Water sees the videos of Bruce Willis in them.
Oh.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah. That would have been...
Fight a narf.
It was just everything's connected. It's just fucking the boy Haley Joel Osment.
A bunch of Amish people.
Haley Joel Osment just sees fucking the videos and he's like, I can see ghosts. That's my power.
Haley Joel Osment goes to see Glass and says, I see dead careers.
Shit. M. Night, come on, bro. But I don't know. He's such an interesting filmmaker. I'm glad he exists because he makes his movies his way. I feel like increasingly like not a lot of directors can really do that. It's either they get swept up by some sort of like series, and then he's one of the few that can do that. And then
to me, M. Night is fucking embarrassing. But at the same time, I do admire him that he keeps trying to get back in the saddle. He keeps getting these toys. He put up the money for these movies. He put up the money for this movie and Split, I'm pretty sure, on his own, out of his own pocket. And I admire that tremendously. He tries to get back on the saddle. Most other directors at this point, I can't get no studio will hire me to make a big movie. No studio will give me the budget for anything I want to make. I can't get a creative leniency. Most of them would just say, I'm going to take my money, I'm going to walk, I'll go retire at my house in Malibu. So I got to give him credit for that. It's hard not to. But, Jesus Christ, man. I don't know. Maybe he should take a break for a little while, and maybe he should, just go to a hardware store and see what, things that sell security actually look like, and how, people actually talk. And maybe that'll help him a little bit.
All right, so you mentioned... your rating earlier. I haven't really thought about it, but
yes.
Probably.
This movie has it's got an interesting premise. It's got a somewhat unique tone. It's just fucking trash in the final act. It's so trash. It devolves into an episode of American Horror Story. It's not even an original shitty twist like some of his other movies. It's just kind of a generic, Secret Society. There's still some stuff to like about the movie. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch this movie again, because I don't know if I'll sit through that second act and watch all that information go through, and at the end of the day be like, yeah, this is all leading to something interesting. Now that I know that all that lofty, crappy, hot air dialogue about comic books being history doesn't go to anything, any bigger idea or picture, I don't think I could ever watch this movie again, at least not anytime soon. And it does have something about it that does just make it unique, even if it's just that M. Night trying to get back in the saddle again. So I would land this movie somewhere around like probably like I'm gonna say like 56%. It's always nice seeing Samuel L. Jackson do things and reprise roles.
Yeah, this is just, it's so weird because it really just bummed me out. I kind of regret seeing it, but I enjoyed most of it. So it's like a really strange movie in that way, where usually if I'm like, I fucking regret seeing that movie, it's like because that movie was dog shit or it like made me mad or something. This kind of just made me sad. So I don't know. I might give it like maybe like a 59. I kind of want to give it a 60, but I can't even. I don't know if I could do that right now.
Yeah, I almost wanted to rank it. I decided on this rating a while ago, and I almost wanted to rank it lower. The more I think about it and talk about this movie, the more I dislike it. But no, it isn't. It's a movie that gets you talking, which I like. It kind of gives you, if you're someone who has like creative thought process and you are interested in movies and maybe making movies, it does make you think a lot about why is this the way it is and why doesn't it work and why is it still somewhat interesting. So that's where I land where I am. But at the same time, for general audiences, I mean, I was watching it. I watched it at the theater. I'm like, this is going to be so damning to people. This is a movie that comic book people are going to hate because it has this just like nonsensical, arbitrary, lofty comic book dialogue that is just someone who doesn't even read comic books can tell that this is just some dude who doesn't fucking know what he's talking about, making shit up for the service of his scripts. And then people who want a more cinematic, heavy movie, and listen, it's like a deconstruction of the superhero franchise. This movie's not smart. It doesn't fucking put forth any really interesting ideas with that. Maybe taps at a few, but doesn't follow through with any of them. Maybe even rolls back on some that Unbreakable put forth. So it's not for like, that's what I'd say I would expect and want to see out of this movie. I didn't get that. And then I think general popcorn munching movie audiences are just going to be just dulled by the fucking low budget and just kind of compact story where they're going to be like, I'm not like, oh, I wish they fought on the skyscrapers, but I bet you some people are, and it's this weird area. But Caleb, what would you give Glizzass?
Oh, I already said a 59.
Okay, 59. Man, you know who they should have got to score this movie?
Yeah.
Philip Glass.